Currently, jury selection is underway in Donald Trump's criminal trial pertaining to falsifying business records. The claim: Donald Trump had Stormy Daniels secretly paid through his lawyer, Michael Cohen, to keep her silent on an extramarital affair. Now, while this is typically a campaign finance violation, the argument is that Cohen paid her personally. Trump then reimbursed him, claiming it was a legal expense. Now, normally this would be a misdemeanor, but Bragg is arguing that Trump was trying to cover up an additional crime, a campaign finance violation. Therefore, this is a felony. There is only one big problem, according to legal analysts across the board, and it's that the FEC and the federal government have declined to pursue any charges relating to this. There is no underlying crime, which is a big hole in the case. They are trying to get Trump on a felony for what should be a misdemeanor, if you can even prove Trump did anything wrong at all. This is where we're currently at. The prosecutors want to hold Trump in contempt. This seems to be, to anybody paying attention, something malicious. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to campaign finance violations, according to the AP, DNC and Hillary Clinton campaign agreed to a fine related to the Steele dossier. That's it. Hillary Clinton, this is from March 31st, 2022. Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign and the DNC have agreed to pay $113,000 to settle an FEC investigation into whether they violated campaign finance law by misreporting spending on research that eventually became the infamous Steele dossier. I am not sitting here to say that because Hillary did bad, Trump is fine or otherwise. No, what I'm saying is when it came to instances of campaign finance violations, the Clinton campaign did pay a fine, and that was it. The FEC actually said there's nothing to pursue Trump on in this regard. Now, whether or not Trump falsified business records will need to be proven. But again, that's just a misdemeanor, which makes this all very, very strange. Now, I want to play for you the statement from Donald Trump, and we'll get started on where we're currently at with the legal proceedings and what this is all about. Here we go.
Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it. Every legal scholar said this case is nonsense. It should never have been brought. It doesn't deserve anything like this. There is no case, and they've said it. People that don't necessarily follow or like Donald Trump said this is an outrage that this case was brought. This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America. And that's why I'm very proud to be here. This is an assault on our country. And it's a country that's failing. It's a country that's run by an incompetent man who's very much involved in this case. This is really an attack on a political opponent. That's all it is. So I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, let's do this. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the politics, because there are some interesting revelations, we have this great article from Fox News. As of today, 9 questions about the Trump trial answered. Now, beyond what we know in the what I would describe as the strangeness of this case, we do know that there is a conflict involving the judge's daughter, who, according to the New York Post, they say Democrat clients of daughter of New York judge in Trump hush money trial raised $93 million off the case. We have a clear conflict of interest. The judge, however, this morning, it has been reported, has refused to recuse himself in this matter, despite having clear financial gain present based on his family's personal business. Now, it is always the judge's decision whether to accuse or not. Fox News starts off with this. Former President Donald Trump's hush money court case will kick off on Monday, making the first time a former president will stand trial over criminal charges. The historic trial will require Trump, the Republican Party's presumptive nominee, to defend himself from the Manhattan courtroom while simultaneously campaigning as the election season heats up. Fox News Digital compiled the top questions regarding the case ahead of its kicking off Monday at 10 a.m. in Lower Manhattan. Now, I want to stress this. You know, this may be right into Trump's hands. These major breaking press events make Trump look like the victim and give him maximum political exposure. which can only be partially bad. Trump's supporters are not going to leave him. Trump's detractors are not going to join him, but people in the middle of the road are going to be swayed one way or the other. And right now, it is not clear. Right now, you have the argument that what should be a misdemeanor is being treated as a felony. Many middle of the road individuals may stop and take pause with that and say, why? And if that works out for Trump, which I think he's banking on, he gets maximum name recognition. He becomes the dominant name in the press, and that may be all you need. But it also may swing independents who believe this may be political persecution of a president. But let's read. Fox News says, dubbed the hush money case, the trial's origins date back to October of 2016 when Trump's former personal attorney, Cohen, paid former porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 to allegedly quiet her claims of an alleged extramarital affair she had with then real estate tycoon in 2006. Trump has denied having an affair with Daniels. The case is also expected to feature two other payments, including a $30,000 payment to a Trump Tower doorman who claimed that Trump fathered a child out of wedlock and arranged a $150,000 payment through a tabloid publisher to a former Playboy model named Karen McDougal, who also claimed she had an affair with Trump and sold her story to the tabloid. Trump has also vehemently denied these allegations. Prosecutors allege that the Trump organization reimbursed Cohen and fraudulently logged the payments as legal expenses. Quote, during the election, Trump and others employed a catch and kill scheme to identify, purchase, and bury negative information about him and boost his electoral prospects, says Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. Trump then went to great lengths to hide this conduct, causing dozens of false entries in business records to conceal criminal activity, including attempts to violate state and federal election laws. Catch and kill schemes are understood as tactics used by media and publishing companies to buy the rights of a person's story with the intention of burying that information. Bragg announced the charges against Trump in April of 23, with 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. The charges stem from checks reimbursing Cohen for over a roughly 12-month period for paying Daniels in 2016. Cohen was separately arrested in 2018 and pleaded guilty to campaign finance charges and lying to Congress. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and has since been released. Falsifying business records is a misdemeanor, but prosecutors are working to prove that Trump falsified records with an intent to commit or conceal a second crime, which would be a felony. The charges against Trump carry more than a decade in prison if he is convicted on the counts. Legal experts across the nation have weighed in that it is unlikely Trump would face a long prison sentence. Many have speculated he'll get probation. How has Bragg turned this into a felony? Charges of falsifying business records are misdemeanors in New York. However, the argument is that Trump violated federal election laws. Now, hold on. Let me read a quote that we have here. This is from, let me see, who is it? I believe it's a legal expert, Heritage Foundation, Zach Smith, saying that prosecutors are trying to bootstrap what would ordinarily be a misdemeanor charge into felony offenses. Quote, some of the charges he's trying to bring are false records charges against Donald Trump, which are ordinarily misdemeanors, unless they were done in furtherance of another felony, simply to cover up another felony. And in this case, as I understand it, Alvin Bragg is saying that the other felony was a federal campaign finance violation. So you simply have a state prosecutor pursuing a state case against Donald Trump based on a federal felony offense that the federal government, the DOJ itself, declined to pursue. I don't actually believe declined to pursue is the best way to phrase it, Zach Smith. I believe there's no criminal charges against Trump at the federal level. There was no other crime. Now, the argument Bragg is making is, so what? I believe there was, and we don't need to pursue that. Now, let's break down the simplest of this defense. What happened? Donald Trump hires a lawyer. And I think this is where we see many of the prosecutors when it comes to Letitia James going after Trump with the civil charges, when it comes to now Alvin Bragg, the exploitation of ignorance of the general public. Donald Trump has a lawyer. Donald Trump hires a lawyer, and I doubt, with a corporation and organizations, plural, as massive as the Trump companies, that he is in day-to-day regular communications with his lawyer telling him what to do and micromanaging. We have lawyers. We have business records, and we hire accountants, and they do filings, and then we hire lawyers, and they do the groundwork, and it's not particularly specific other than, yeah, let us know, go through the records, do this, do that. Hey, we're buying a property. Please set it up for us. Let me explain. So Donald Trump has a lawyer. That lawyer says, I'm going to charge you legal expenses related to solving these problems. They're going to have to prove that Donald Trump instructed Cohen to pay off Stormy Daniels. That may be hard to prove, especially if this is run, for those that are Trump detractors, if this is run like any organized crime, and that's why it's called organized. I'm not saying mafia, I'm saying organized crime. You can't prove anything. That's the point. The reason why Trump didn't write the check himself is so that you can't prove anything. That being said, I don't think the jury is going to give Trump a free pass on this one. They'll convict him no matter what. But here's the idea. There is the plausible deniability that Trump has. Trump hires Michael Cohen and says, just, figure out what's going on with these claims or whatever, and then, let me know. And then he has no idea what Cohen does. Cohen, let's say this. Let's say Donald Trump goes to Michael Cohen and says, can you figure out what Stormy Daniels wants and just take care of it? And that's it. What does Trump mean? Well, take care of it's not a question of illegal behavior. He's saying just figure out what's going on. You're my lawyer. You deal with it. The lawyer then decides, Michael Cohen, who went to prison, instead of actually filling out paperwork and negotiating defamation or rights to stories or whatever, I'll just pay her off. Here's money. And then, and then I'll bill Trump. Trump might not even know. So they got to prove that. It's possible in this court case. They do prove Donald Trump or someone associated with Trump creates the connection where Trump said, just give her the money and we'll write it off as an expense. He says that, he's going to get in trouble. Granted, they're bootstrapping this as a felony, but I don't think, if Trump really wanted to just outright pay her off, he just would have done it. I think what we're likely going to find is that Cohen, I believe, will probably testify, Trump told me to do it. Trump will say, no, I didn't. I hired a lawyer and said, take care of my reputational stuff. Cohen, instead of wanting to do the work, decided to just pay her off and then billed Trump saying, these were my fees related to the work involving Stormy Daniels. And Trump was like, okay. Every company gets an invoice from their lawyers and it breaks down hours. You don't know exactly what they're doing. You know that you hire a lawyer and you say, I need you to draft a response to the court for this reason. And they go, okay. Or you say, hey, there's someone who's causing us problems. We need you to go negotiate with his attorney and figure out what's going on. They say, okay. Then the lawyer comes back to you and says, hey, we took care of it. And you're like, okay, let me know what I owe you. The assumption that Trump knew any of this is going to be, that's a hard thing to prove. And I will add on top of this, again, for those that hate Trump, he may have known every little bit about it, and that will be very difficult to prove. Short of Trump handwriting a letter and signing it, it's going to be difficult to prove. I believe they're going to have, the only witness here is going to be Cohen. I don't know what else they could do. Who are they going to bring in? They're going to say the DOJ in 2019 effectively concluded its investigation into Trump's payments. In 21, the FEC, the agency dedicated to enforcing campaign finance laws, announced it had dropped a case looking into whether Trump had violated the laws for payments to Daniels. Former FEC member Hans von Spakovsky underscored to Fox News Digital in another interview that both the FEC and DOJ had declined to pursue the case. Yet a local DA is working to prove that Trump violated federal law. That's insane. What? The FEC looked at this and said, this settlement was not a violation of federal law. The Justice Department also has a criminal enforcement authority over federal campaign finance laws, and the DOJ has also not considered this a crime. And so you have this local DA claiming there's no violation of federal law, when the two federal agencies with enforcement authority over the law say, well, no, there was no violation of federal law. And look, I say that as a former commissioner on the FEC. My job as a commissioner was to enforce federal campaign finance law. And this is simply not a violation of federal law. Can Trump pardon himself if elected? In the hush money case, Trump could not pardon himself if he wins election in November. The Constitution dictates that a president's pardoning powers grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, meaning the powers only apply to federal cases. The judge is Juan M. Merchant, 61, presiding over the case. Merchant, originally from Colombia, has served on the New York Supreme Court since 2009, overseeing felony criminal cases. He previously served as an assistant DA in the Manhattan's DA office in the 1990s and worked in the New York State Attorney General's office, among other roles. Merchant has previously overseen high-profile cases, including Soccer Mom Madam. Anna Gristina was charged with running a high-end prostitution ring. Interesting. Trump has railed against Merchant on Truth Social, including last month when he called on the judge to recuse himself and cited Merchant's daughter and her work as a political consultant for Democratic politicians. And here we are. Judge Juan Merchant, who is suffering from an acute case of Trump derangement syndrome, whose daughter represents crooked Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, and other radical liberals, has just posted a picture of me behind bars, her obvious goal, and makes it completely impossible for me to get a fair trial, has now issued another illegal, un-American, unconstitutional order as he continues to try and take away my rights. Now, okay. The daughter posting behind bars image is disputed, with many on the right saying this is the listed social media account for his daughter. The profile picture, of course, shows Trump behind bars. However, liberals argue that his daughter, while she did have the account, changed the account. Someone else got the name and made that photo, and it wasn't his daughter. Now, of all the people to come out and defend Donald Trump, no one expected Michael Avenatti. You remember him? I mean, man, several years ago, people thought this guy could actually run the Democratic ticket. Now he's in prison. He says, the fix is in. Never before has there been a high-profile criminal case in America where a prosecutor, Bragg, permitted and likely encouraged two critical witnesses, Cohen and Daniels, to use the media in the days leading up to a trial to trash a gagged defendant and violate his right to a fair trial. He goes on to say, to my friends on the left who insist they want to preserve democracy and justice, you should be equally outraged by this. Constitutional protections either exist for all, including Trump, or they don't exist for any. What is happening in the hush money case is a travesty. Well, here we are. Democrat clients of daughter of New York judge in Trump hush money trial raised $93 million off the case. I don't care about a picture of Trump behind bars. I do not care. But my friends, I don't care if you like or hate Trump. Your system doesn't exist. You're not preserving democracy. There isn't any. There's no democracy. There is no justice. Because if you really believed Trump did wrong, and you could prove it, you'd simply say, Judge, recuse yourself. Every Democrat in the world would be saying, we don't care who the judge is. Just get a judge. This judge's daughter, her clients made $93 million fundraising off this. You have tainted democracy. It is not a big deal to get a different judge. In no way is that a big deal. None. What does it change? Judge assignment could be random for all you care. If you believe Trump did this and you can prove it, the judge doesn't matter. And how about this? You get a judge who comes out and goes, Trump 2024. Then you get him to recuse himself as well. Instead, they're working with this. Man, take a look at this story. Two major Democratic clients of the daughter of the judge overseeing Donald Trump's hush money trial have raised at least $93 million in campaign donations and used the case in their solicitation emails, raising renewed concerns that the jurist has a major conflict of interest. Trump's attorneys are considering filing another motion demanding Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchant recuse himself from the trial set to begin April 15th. So this, of course, is from March 30th. We now know the judge has not recused himself. Quote, authentic campaigns, and thus the judge's daughter, is actively making money from this sham attack against President Trump, rendering Judge Merchant conflicted out. Trump spokesman Stephen Chung told the Post, adding that evidence of bias is even clearer now that it was in August when Merchant rejected Trump's first recusal motion. The judge should do the right thing and immediately recuse himself in order to show the American people that the Democrats have not destroyed our justice system completely. Him continuing to be involved in this crooked Joe Biden-directed witch hunt is a complete violation of applicable rules, regulations, and ethics. Schiff's campaign for U.S. Senate scored an eye-popping $20 million in aid since he began soliciting donations off the presumptive GOP's president's unprecedented 34-count indictment in April, according to the FEC. Trump has pleaded not guilty to felony counts of falsifying business records related to alleged hush money payments made to porn star Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. He has denied having affairs with both women. If convicted, he faces up to 4 years in prison. There's no way to win these things. That's the reality. They'll ask you to come in and testify. And it is remarkable to me how stupid some of these people are. When they say come and testify, they are not seeking honest answers. They're laying a trap. No matter what you say, they'll accuse you of lying and then bring about charges and say, do you want to be dragged through a $2 million trial? Good luck. We have unlimited funds. The best thing you can do in any circumstances, sure, I'll testify, and I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth to every single question. There is no reality in which these people who are trying to destroy you are going to take an honest answer. Oh, wait, really? That's not what oh, we're so sorry we brought you here. What'll happen is, like, Trump's CFO or whatever, they'll just say, oh, yeah, you lied. So we're locking you up. It's amazing. Let me tell you some stories, right? And I love these conservatives who are just like, we'll back the blue no matter who. And they never talk to cops. Never. I know it's tough because never is impossible. It really is. Like, we've called the police. I have to talk to them. You keep it limited, though. No disrespect. I've talked to a lot of cops unrelated to anything crime. I've met cops in the street, and one guy, local deputy. We talk a bit, no problem. But let me tell you the reality of talking to cops. There was a great Supreme Court justice a long time ago. I forgot his name, but he was like, you never talk to the police because pertaining to criminal matters because it doesn't benefit you in any way. All it does is hurt you. I'll give you an example. Let's say that there's a crime committed, and the cops say, can we ask you some questions? And, cops need witness testimony sometimes to bring the bad guys in. But then you take a look at Kamala Harris. And so the issue becomes this. You have prosecutors in this country who will burn you to the ground for no reason. Look at the McMichaels in the Ahmaud Arbery case. The guy who was filming went to prison, likely for the rest of his life. Maybe he'll get out on good behavior or whatever. All he did was film. Nah, he's an accomplice to murder. Lock him up. The Proud Boys in New York. Antifa was harassing attendees to an event. I would call this Antifa provoked, but the Proud Boys chose to engage. That's true. The Proud Boys talked to the cops. We'll tell you everything you want to know. Okay. The cops arrested him and put him in prison. Yeah, for 4 years. Here's the best case scenario for you. Talk to the cops. Something happens. Let's say the DA calls you in. Let's say law enforcement. And you say, I'm going to clear my name and explain to them what happened. All they're doing is looking for ways they can claim you lied. So you say something like, yeah, when I filled out that form back in, 2023, I think, I said X, Y, and Z. And they go, oh, okay. Then you leave and they go, he filmed out that form in 2022. He lied. Or you accidentally misspoke, said the wrong form, and they come back and say, in 2023, you said A, B, and C, not X, Y, and Z. And then you'll be like, I meant 2022. Nice try. You lied to us. You're under arrest. Perjury charge. And we're going to bury you with unlimited government funds, destroy your life. And you'll probably win, but you'll spend the next 4 months. Let me tell you a story. When I was a teenager, my brother and I got jumped by mall security guards because they mistaken us for someone else or something. I don't know what happened. I think I can tell you what happened is we had left a store. The alarm went off. We don't know why it went off. We were like, I was wearing skin tight skater clothes and the lady was like, stop. And we were like, what? Like the alarm went off when we walked in and walked out. I don't know what you're talking about, lady. And so apparently something happened, like the security guards decided that they were going to beat the crap out of us instead of just asking us what happened. And that's what they did. Crazy thing happened. My brother was on the phone at the time. It went to voicemail. It recorded everything that happened, everything that was said. And what you had was the security guards beating us up, laughing about how they didn't search us. They didn't care who we were. They didn't care if we did anything wrong. They could do whatever they wanted, and literally just beating the crap out of my brother, pinning me to the ground and, shoving my face to the ground. I called 911 when we got attacked. They took the phone. They turned it off. Said, I don't care. And I was like, that's the police calling back. So what? We can do whatever we want. That's what they said. Something to that effect. Well, the crazy thing happened is that we end up getting arrested. The cops don't care. We told the cops they attacked us. Please look at the cameras. And they said, I don't care. We're not going to do that. We went to jail, paid bail, got out. They claimed that we were attacking people. My brother swung at them. I was screaming and swearing. None of it was true. And then our friend called us back and said, are you guys dead? Like I got this voicemail of you guys screaming. And we were able to get that recording. And so our lawyer went to the prosecutor and said, I got a recording of your guys saying they're not following the rules. They can do whatever they want. They're attacking my clients. And the prosecutor went, really? Here's what we're going to do. I am going to criminally charge your clients with felonies for eavesdropping under Illinois statute. You'll probably win, but I'm going to make sure they spend the next 6 months in prison, in lockup, with no bail. And so they might win, or I'll tell you what, we'll pretend that recording doesn't exist. Our lawyer comes back to us and says, well, it is, look, you're screaming and yelling too on this. It does make the guards look bad. They do admit to attacking you outright, but you'll probably win, you know, but he will have you charged with felonies. He will file. And he's like, obviously the argument is there was no intentional recording made. It was a phone that was on that recorded it. So you'll win, but you will go to prison. You will be transported to a prison because this is a serious felony charge in Illinois, and likely will not be released. He's giving us the opportunity to just forget this exists. That's the reality of how prosecution works in this country. You think you're going to go and meet with someone? Nah. Only thing you'd say is plead the fifth. That's it. It's a dirty game that's being played. And they're wrapping up Trump in it. We'll see how this one plays out. A lot of developments to come today. The trial's currently underway, so jury selection, I don't believe, has begun by the time of recording this, but we'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.